Okay, it's recording.
Okay. And I don't believe we had any correspondence either, right?
We had one.
We had,
Like,
Oh, wait a minute.
Meg
We'll do it from Meg.
yeah, Big Mouth
Yeah.
Testing.
And that's going to come up. Is
what's
that
his
coming
name?
up later?
No, I want it so I can hold. So
Yeah,
just,
it doesn't mind.
what? All right.
You want to switch over?
Okay. The letter from Meg. Hi, Lawrence.
How you doing, Rose?
We're good. You know, I wasn't sure if you all wanted to act on this now or wait until we could really meet and talk about this. So what's your pleasure?
And Rose, what's the subject? I spaced out here.
We're talking about Meg Malatesta's letter to name, what is it, Upper Cox after Bill Wallach. So do you want to discuss this now or you want us to table it till we can all meet and chit chat about it?
Yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Yeah.
We have a resident want to come in, Faith Brazil. She's a Chaffinch Island group, I think. Faith, she wants me to admit her. Is that okay?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that was, what about the rest of you ladies? What do you think?
I agree. We can talk about it when we can
Talk better.
discuss. Yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah, it's
table for
fine
now?
with me.
Yeah, let's table it for now. I mean, personally, I think it's a good idea, but I really would like to sit and have a little conversation about it. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Easier than trying to do this here.
Yeah.
I think there's something they want to do in the fall, so we have time
Exactly,
to act on it.
exactly. All right, so that brings us to our minutes. So we need a motion to approve our March 2nd public information meeting minutes.
I have I know I wasn't there, but should
Yeah.
I be in the excuse section? Because I was sick, so it was my first meeting and I didn't make it because I was
actually-
ill.
Yeah, I think we only do present and excused.
Okay.
I'm looking at these. Yeah, generally we don't,
But you mean to add your name in because it just says Diane?
Yeah.
this says Diane, right. So yes, because you were officially on by then.
Right. I
Right.
believe so.
So we'll have Kathy add your name.
Okay. I just didn't know. But
No, that's fine. I don't think Kathy was really well aware of that either. So we'll tell her, and I think the same for the regular meeting. So, all right. So a motion to accept the public information meeting.
I'll make a motion to accept the public information meeting held on March 2nd, 2020 with the addition to adding Laura Hartman to excused.
All right.
I'll second.
Somebody, thank you. All right. Any other additions or corrections or anything? All in
Nope.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
then I think, do I have to abstain? I'm your problem. You're welcome, the new member, and she's a problem already.
Fine. Yes, you do. So we have
Okay.
one abstention.
I abstain.
Yes, we do. All right, so that brings us to the Park and Rec meeting minutes, and we'll add your name right now to the excused. Okay, so after we add Laura's name, somebody make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of March 2nd, 2020 with the addition of Laura Hartman as excused.
Okay,
I'll second it.
great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we're done with that. Okay.
One abstain.
And one abstention, yes. Okay, now we have to look at the bills.
Yeah, we had Nancy put 2 months worth of bills in there too.
See
for
them
you.
here. So can we do them both at the same time, or do we have to do 1 month at a time? What do you think?
I think we're better off doing 1 month at a time.
All right, so let's take a look at March. Any questions, any comments about March?
Rick, the Gorilla Waste, that was before we got our trucks.
No, that's the dumpster. That's just the
Oh, okay.
dumpster. Yeah, at the community center.
Mm.
Any other questions on March's bills? Ah,
Nope.
we're right along here. Okay, motion to accept the bills.
I make a motion to accept March 2020 bills. Make a motion to accept it.
Second,
I'll
I'll
second. Oh,
Lawrence and
Right.
Suzanne.
all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
All right. April's bills. Any questions on April's bills? We have bills. We have lots and lots of bills.
Rick, can I just ask what the OT was for? The overtime? I was kind of surprised by that for April.
What page is that?
Page 1 of 4.
Cover.
Oh, on the top, overtime, 200.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh.
let me think. I got to look into it, Suzanne. I'm not sure exactly. It could have been. We do have the guys, since this wouldn't account for all of it, but part of it is every week we have our maintenance guys clean their own bathrooms down there. They're the only department that doesn't have somebody from facilities cleaning the
Okay.
restrooms. So they have to do it. We've always made the agreement they can stay after work and do it. Not
Okay.
on their-
I just figured I'd ask, being that like there's no overtime anywhere right now. So.
It's on the March. There's also overtime on the March bills as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, again, probably the same thing. March, I think we might have had one little snowstorm. I'm trying to remember back in March of when we had like an inch of snow sometime.
Yeah.
That might have been part of it, but I think it's more of the cleaning of the restrooms.
Yeah. Because the March overtime is less.
Yeah.
All right. Motion to accept the April bills.
I'll make a motion to accept the April 2020 bills.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Reports. Thank you, Rick, for the coronavirus special report.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yeah, so we're doing some different things right now that we don't normally do. But a couple of things I just highlighted on my report. The disinfecting of the community center, that actually was brought to me by Charlie Hershaft. They disinfected all the town buildings. And so they said it's supposed to be good for like 30 days. They came in, they had to spray everything in the wall, the air, everything.
Right.
And so I had them come in on Good Friday because we were not there. Obviously, we don't want to be there when they're doing it. So we had that done. Number 6, the Jacobs Beach restroom. You might have noticed in the bills there was like a $3,000 something cost for painting down there. Remember somebody tried to light the building on fire back in the fall?
Yeah.
And so some of that is going to get reimbursed by the insurance company, but not a lot. The deductible is $10,000. And I think with the ServPro that came to do the cleaning in the fall and the painting, it came over, I think it was around $10,400 or something. So the town would get something back, but not a lot. And that's ready to go. We actually opened the restrooms this past weekend down there because of the nice weather we had for the weekend. I just want to point out number 8, Dennis Culleton is an amazing volunteer. I don't know how many of you know him. Certainly, Rose, you probably taught with him at Adams.
I did.
He's probably more in the coronavirus report I gave. Plus, Terry, I think, sent a separate email that was not part of the packet of all the things we're doing with the shopping for the seniors. But Dennis has volunteered 8 or 9 hours a day, 5 days a week. We set up an office for him in the late room. He's got the biggest office in the building. But he's there every day coordinating the volunteers and going out and doing the shopping for the seniors. And it's pretty amazing what he's been doing. He also worked with us, the 3,000 bags that we stuffed with masks that went out last Tuesday. He arranged for people from the St. George Men's Club. And I got members of the Rotary Club, and the two of them, they got all those bags stuffed with masks, and got them, most of them handed out at Guilford High School last Tuesday. We do have maybe a couple hundred left still. We still been giving out. People call, they meet us at the back of the community center, they drive by, we hand them a bag of masks, and they drive on.
Fair
So
enough.
Dennis has been amazing doing that.
All
The only thing else I'll mention, number 11, because this has changed since I wrote this, I think. We closed all facilities about a week ago, a little over a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry, let me step back. Tennis courts were closed, basketball courts, dog park, and fields were technically open. You know, people could play on them on a limited basis, like, you know, a father, son, mother, daughter, whatever could have a catch, but you couldn't have a game or any organized sports. So all that changed last week. You all might have gotten a call from the first selectman on the mass notification. Pretty much everything is open now, so we're going around with monitors. Our staff are going out 7 days a week to from I think 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. to, you know, drive around and check on the hot spots, which are all the facilities at the high school, tennis courts, track, the fields up there, Adams tennis courts, lakes, skate park, Chapman's Island, Jacobs. I feel like I'm missing one, but those are the, I think, the hot areas.
Are they driving up to Quanapog as well?
Well, Quanapog is, you know, it's locked up. Nobody should be in there anyway. So
Yeah, yeah, okay.
And we just started it this weekend, and so we had staff today doing it. And you know, I have a schedule I made out for up through next Sunday. I didn't go beyond that yet because we also have staff who have to start taking vacation time. We're going to lose it. So I'm trying to get that information from staff this week so I can figure out who I'm scheduling next week. But we're covering 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Rick, you said, when I talked to you earlier today, you said that you were conferencing with police chief and with Matt. So did they see that everything went okay this weekend at our facilities, or are they? How'd that go?
Well, Matt got an email which he forwarded to me and I think to the chief. Somebody complaining that there wasn't enough monitoring. I think when you know, in the mass notification, I think people thought monitoring meant someone was going to be sitting, for example, at the bleachers of the high school track and watching it all day. We're not doing that. I mean, they would be paying someone for hours. And you know, there may not be anyone there, so they're roaming around. Connor was in on Saturday, and he said he hit every facility at least 4 times. He was at Jacobs Beach 5 times and skate park 5 times.
Okay.
So, you know, we're making a presence, but, you know, obviously, there may not be anybody there when we show up, and, you know, it goes back an hour and a half later, there may be 20 people. I mean, you know, it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're doing. I think.
But the police didn't think there was a problem.
The only problem they brought to my attention was at Jacobs Beach yesterday, and I got a call from the police about 4:15 yesterday afternoon. They said there was a big crowd at Jacobs Beach. People actually parked on Seaside Avenue.
Really?
You know, and because Hammonasset had shut down, and so people were going to the local beaches. And I mean, this is not our issue, but there was also a classic car sort of impromptu gathering that was supposed to be at Hammonasset. They all showed up at the marina.
Oh.
So police were a little busy with that. They told me that the beach was packed with people. I got down there about a half hour later, and the parking lot wasn't even full. So they all left, I guess, or whatever. But I was at Jacobs twice on Saturday, once on Sunday, and I never saw more than 45 people on the beach, and they were all spread out.
They're spread out. Yeah.
That's because they were all at Hammonasset, every one of them. Everyone, because I run down there, so I'm like, this isn't peaceful anymore. That's it.
But
I thought they closed Hammonasset.
Oh no, Hammonasset's been open all along. I mean, they closed off some of the parking lots, but
I think they closed it yesterday because it was too crowded over the weekend.
Yeah, I was there in the morning.
Yeah,
I was there in the morning at like 9 o'clock, and it was
so they closed it at some point during the day.
Yeah, it was horrible. I'm like, this is where the next huge outbreak's going to be. Yeah. Absolutely. It was like the 4th of July.
So what I've asked Ellen and Taryn and Connor to come up with staff for this weekend. If we get, I don't think this coming weekend's going to be like last weekend.
No.
I mean, if it's in the 50s, we're not going to really worry about it. But if it's a nice weekend, I want to have staff that stay at Jacobs Beach during those hours from 8:30 till 6. They were going to keep, whether it's lifeguards, camp
Yeah.
staff, somebody, and not 16-year-old, somebody who's a little bit older, who's got some experience. And the whole idea is not to lifeguard the beach, but to do the social distancing thing and monitor, make sure there aren't groups of 20 people showing up for the picnic pavilion. We know that's a hot spot. And if,
Yeah.
you know, ideally, we probably should have done that for this past weekend. Quite frankly, we didn't know. We didn't know.
But we
what-
didn't realize. But a lot of us, a lot of us went around. I went around to a few places. I went to Chaffinch, and I told you there were about 25 cars in the lot. But when you get out there, everybody was really isolated. It was quite nice. And I went down to the beach, same thing. Sunday I went up to Quantipoc, and there was a lot of kayakers who had parked in our parking lot and carried their kayaks across the street to that area to the right of the beach. And there had to be about 20 of them there. But that was the worst that I saw.
So Saturday is supposed to be 50 and Sunday is 56.
Yeah, so
And
we're not going to get the crowds that we did last weekend.
No, and the lows are 37 and 43. So I think we'll be good.
I think
Yeah.
we'll be all right. But just let's get somebody in case.
I just told them to get staff lined up. We may not need them, but
Yes.
we have them lined up available in the event we do need them.
All right, good. All right, so anything else on Rick's report? All right, so Anthony, boy, guys, they've had a chance to get a lot done.
Yeah, a lot of catch up.
I'm telling you, the bocce courts look phenomenal.
Yeah, they did a great job down there. New
They did.
board.
They've had the time to do it. It's great.
You know, part of what they've been busy with is you know, again, a week and a half ago, we were told to close everything at the high school. So we made 20 signs and Tony put them up all over the facility. And then a week later, we were told, let's open everything. So,
Yeah, I know.
you know, he took all the lacrosse goals off the fields, the nets off the soccer goals, which we were going to keep off. And I confirmed that with Matt that that's what we want to do, because all that's going to do is encourage groups to go out there. People can go on the field, like I said earlier, you know, up to 5 people can go on the field and, you know, social distance, but you can't be games or organized practices at this point. So we took all the bases out of the baseball fields and the nets down, and we're not going to put them back up until we're ready to open for, you know, full play.
Right.
So they've been running around doing a lot of that kind of stuff.
All right. Any questions on that report, anyone?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Recreation supervisor, Ellen's report. I mean, Ellen's sort of living in limbo land. You know,
Yeah,
last
a lot
week
of
canceled.
a lot of what they did early on, you know, when this all hit, like mid or late March, was trying to salvage any of the winter programs that we.
Yeah.
You give me a second. Someone's trying to get me on my phone. I don't know if it's about the meeting. Hold on one second. Hello, Rick Maynard.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ellen, you know, has done a great job, I think, working from home and getting all of these programs sort of, you know, canceled, reorganized, you know, online when she can. The hard part is knowing what to do as we move forward. It's just all up in the air for her. So even though she's given us maybe, you know, everything she's doing is a maybe. Maybe camp will open, maybe it won't. You know, we don't know what's going to happen. So.
But thankfully, we had about 230 participants still sign up for fitness classes online.
Yeah.
So
I know.
that's a plus.
I thought that was pretty amazing, actually. Just, you
Right.
know, that
Yeah.
it's 50%, which, you know, but I think that's good.
It's great.
Mhm.
It's awesome.
There definitely were some refunds, because when people signed up for the spring, they signed up in February thinking they were going to be,
That's right.
you know, going to be at the community center. But John Jagelsi just joined. Hey, John.
Hi, John.
I don't think he can hear us yet.
Well, that's good. All right.
He's connecting to audio, it says.
Oh, so he can only hear us.
How did how's the TikTok challenge going?
Checked with Connor as of Friday was sort of supposed to be the deadline for people to sign up. I think there were 4. And I think they're going to, I haven't seen them yet, but I never heard I had no idea what it was. But, you know, when he explained it, I thought, well, okay, try it. Let's see what happens. Hey, John, you need to unmute yourself. Push the little unmute button. Hey, that's kind of good, actually, isn't it? Can anybody read lips?
Yeah.
There
How
you
about
go.
that playing there?
Yeah.
Hi,
Hey,
John.
John?
Okay. You probably would rather have me muted anyway, so.
I didn't say that.
No. But you know, it took me a while here because I went through 4 ID numbers and 3 telephone numbers to finally find the right combination.
Well, thank you for keep trying.
Well, I just marked me down as being present.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're here. All right, so let's move. We're moving on to Terry's report. The senior report, which is called cancel, except for all the food and stuff that they're doing for the seniors.
Well, that was your February report, in March up until it was about the 17th or 23rd of March, I think.
Yeah.
And we had to start shutting everything down. But it's interesting that the number of meals we're preparing, almost what it was. Meals on Wheels was getting about 80 to 100 people per week, and now it's more like 150, 160.
Yeah.
So those extra meals are really meals that we normally prepared for people who came to the community center, but they're just being shipped out. And so it's more packaging than it was. But Larry's been handling it, and we aren't having the breakfast obviously right now. So that's one thing that's not happening. But the number of
what this does tell us, Rick, though, is how many people rely on the community center for their lunches. Yeah. They don't want to really do the Meals on Wheels. They like to be there to socialize, but they count on those lunches as their meal.
Correct.
And that's what this shows me, which makes it all the more important.
It's a good observation.
I know Terry's working on some things for, that may be happening next year. So she's looking ahead to hopefully getting back.
Terry's had her hands full just with this whole shopping thing. You think, I think the most we've had is 22 in one day, which you think, well, that's not a lot, but it is. I've taken 1 or 2 of those phone calls, and it's about a 15-minute call. When they come in, they give you a whole grocery list. It's not like, quick 2 or 3 minutes on the phone. It's a lot. And then she's coordinating that with the
money.
With the money and with Dennis for the volunteers. And at the end of the day, she has to get all the checks that people send in from their the way it works. And once the groceries are delivered to the people, they get the receipt. They write out the check if they're not paying by credit card. The check is brought back to Terry. Then she's got to balance that all with Big Y, their corporate office up in Springfield. So it's a lot of work for her. A lot of it's the end of the day stuff, but she's
also, I've talked to her a couple times, just to see how things are going. And I guess part of it is, you do encourage people to charge it, but then they're not there using their charge card. So now Springfield questions who these people are. So she's been having to make extra phone calls, and she's really worked very hard at this. I have to say that. Mm-hmm. And I know she's been staying there past the times that she should in order to get some of this stuff done and organized.
She always does, though. She always goes that extra mile.
But this has really been a chore.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
So it's admirable that they took it on. Even when I called today, Patty was flustered. She was really busy. So
yeah.
Rose, do you know if they still need help with it at all?
They probably with the delivery part.
Okay, because now that I've chilled out at work a little bit, I have time to do that. So who should I contact?
That'd be Dennis Colton. Right now, he has like 50 volunteers, is more than he needs.
Okay.
But he's concerned that if this continues, and quite frankly, it may. I mean, people love this so much. This may be a new role for our department. We'll have to decide if we want to do that. But people are kind of liking. They don't have to go shopping. There are others
that's
missing too. But right now he's got enough volunteers. He's just concerned that if people start going back to work, those who are not right now, it could slip. Then we might need some help. But I think right now we're okay.
Okay.
And I haven't seen it from the inside, like what Terry's doing and everyone in the office, but I can only imagine how big of a job that is. But I think I mentioned this to you, Rick. I saw someone who I know was a shopper at Big Y one day, and because they were checking the list and checking in with someone about what they're doing. So it's a big job overall, and it's wonderful that so many volunteers are there and that people are coordinating it.
And on the list, Terry writes their phone number on it, because when they get there and somebody wants, Big Y bread, and they don't have that, they got to call them and say, oh, they have raisin bread. You want that instead or something? They have to call them if it's not what they asked for.
Yeah.
I actually do my parents' shopping every week, and the worst part is you lose your cell phone signal in Big Y in the frozen food section. So I'll be calling her because she only wants a particular kind of waffles, and they don't have them. So I'll call, and
You gotta come to North Branford.
I know.
I've shopped for an acquaintance who was ill and had to quarantine. So I said, oh, I'll do your shopping. And it is incredibly hard
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
shop for someone. So kudos to all those people
Absolutely.
who are shopping. Well done.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Maintenance, apparently a lot of stuff's getting done because the building's half empty. 3/4 empty.
The biggest thing is the floor in the Guilford room looks
Floor,
absolutely beautiful.
grand.
Looks brand new. Todd, bless Todd, he wanted to try it himself. We rented a sander, and after about a week, when he had maybe 1/20th of it done, we said, this is going to take a lot longer, Todd. So we hired a company. They got everything done, sanded in about 3 or 4 days, and got everything done in about a week. It's got 4 coats, 2 coats of sealer, and then 2 coats of the finish on top. It really looks beautiful. Todd doesn't want to put the basketball hoops back in there because he thinks, or even tables, oh, it's going to scratch the floor. But it really looks nice. It really does. If anyone, if you want to stop down, you can come in. Just let me know you're coming. We unlock the back door, let you come in and take a
wear your
look.
mask.
And wear a mask. Yeah.
Maybe I'll stop by later this week.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see the trim got painted because last time I walked through with Ellen, we were looking at all that. So I'm glad all the trim got painted. My question, Rick, what's the issue with the water around the chimney?
Yeah, so we were painting the Quantapug room, and then on that wall by the chimney, Todd noticed a wet spot in the wall. And so he told me, we got a hold of Steve Neidorf, the facilities manager.
Yep.
It ripped open part of the wall. It ripped open more. It was a big chunk of the wall. It's ripped open right now.
Oh,
So
nice.
it came out as coming through the chimney somehow. We brought in Mark DeAngelis, who's a brick guy,
Yep.
and Glenn Gunderson, roofer.
Mhm.
Have them just kind of help us figure out what was going on, and they explained how bricks are a wick. They wick water through, and
Right.
evidently that chimney never got sealed or waterproofed when it was put in, and because it's on the north side of the building, it never really dries out after we have heavy rain. And so we could tell after opening up the wall, this has been happening. It has nothing to do with the roofers, who put the
Right.
new roof on a year or so ago, because the galvanized studs were many of them were rusting behind it. So this obviously has been happening for a very long time. Maybe 10
5
years.
huh?
Who knows? It's a long time. So it's not because of the roofers. So we can't go back after them or anything, but they said it's coming through the chimney. Martin just put a moisture meter on the backside of the chimney, and it said it's supposed to be no more than 18%, and it was 99% wet. So that's how much water was coming through there, and it was getting through the insulation. There was mold in there.
Yeah.
We need to get the mold eradicated, get it all dried out before we seal it back up. But it's wide open right now, still just getting it to dry out.
So how do we repair this?
They could put it's not really a sealer, it's more of a water repellent, that they can do that on the chimney. I told
Okay.
Art DeAngelis got to get us a quote for doing that, and we'll have to get a purchase order or get approval to do it. But I
Okay.
think we need to do that probably before we close it up, make sure it works well before we have this happen all over again.
All right. Okay. Okay, guys. Our commission and staff representatives, I guess, has anybody met? Standing Fields, have they met?
No,
But sorry, go ahead, John.
no, there has not been a meeting. It has been done by email. The only thing that John Kennedy had suggested was that the members do independent walks of the fields because collectively they cannot get together for a meeting.
Yes. Okay. He actually called me last week about the opening up the park, so.
I think, John, I'm sorry, I had to pick up that phone call. I don't know if you mentioned this, but he suggested if anybody from the committee wants to just go look at the fields and
That's,
give a
yes.
report back. he's walked a lot of them, and his comments have been that they look in great shape. And, you know, one of the things that Tony and I talked about, these fields should look about as good as they've ever looked because nobody's on them.
Right.
And
Yeah.
we're going to seed, like, you know, we're seeding them, we're aerating them. We're doing a lot that we can't normally do when they're being used all the time.
And it's
So
gonna
they
be
could
a
all be in
while
good shape.
before they get on them again.
Right.
Hey, Rick, I do have a question here. In Tony's report, you know, they were talking about the hiring of the temporary workers for the summer. Are we still going to need them in spite of the fact we're not going to have any regular sports activities on the fields?
Well, we don't know when that's going to happen again. I mean, right now there isn't. But we normally have 3. He mentioned 2. By May 4th, we usually have 3 guys. And the only thing we're really not doing is grooming ball fields and lining, you know, the soccer fields once a week. Ball fields we groom, you know, daily. So that's 1 guy, but we're still down really 2 guys because we don't have that help that we normally have.
Okay.
We can't hire anybody. There's a freeze on hiring right now because of this whole virus thing. And the other thing is we have to put people in separate trucks. They can't ride together anywhere. So anytime, even if 2 guys are going to Bittner Park, let's say, they got to go in separate vehicles to get there.
Wow. Okay. Can they use their own, are they using their own cars or what are we doing?
No, it's our town trucks, but
We have enough
wouldn't
town
have-
trucks though. Okay.
Right. We wouldn't have 2 more. So if we had 2 more
It would be a
seasonal
problem.
guys, we you know, they could ride in the back of the pickup, I guess, but no seatbelts.
Okay. I just saw Kathy Stewart show up.
She's been kind of going
been
on
here.
back and forth.
Oh, okay. All right. Green Committee, I assume
No meetings.
no meeting. Land acquisition,
No meetings.
no meetings. Community center improvements, we know all about.
Yeah.
And splash pad, I assume, on hold?
The splash pad, we attended the planning and zoning meeting in
Ah.
March, and they unanimously approved it.
Oh, good.
So we just now need to fundraise, but that's kind of on hold because everyone's not in the place to be dishing out money for activities like that. So
Claire, how much has been raised so far? Do you have like a ballpark? You don't, you know, just a
I want to
ballpark.
say it's 40, 50,000,
Okay.
I think.
All right. Fair enough. That's still, it's on, we're on our way, basically.
Yeah.
What's
Okay.
our goal for that?
You say
Was it 175? It's so funny. Like, I'm like, what?
150, I think.
150.
150.
Claire, did you say you guys already raised 50,000?
I want to say there's a discussion with a family that was going to bring in a donation, but with all this happening, we're not sure where they're going to come in now.
Yeah.
I think it's about 30, 35.
Well, you guys are doing awesome.
That is awesome.
You know,
Fingers
it's like-
crossed.
When I see all of you, this looks like Hollywood Squares.
So,
Maybe we could be
So
the
Tara's Paul Lind in the middle.
Yeah.
so Claire, this planning and zoning approval is good forever, you know, I mean, there's no time limit on it, right?
Nope, there was no time limit set.
Okay, so odds are we're not gonna get this done till next summer,
Most likely.
most likely. Yeah, okay.
Unless all of a sudden we get the money, now would be the perfect time. If we had the money, nobody's down there, it's not disrupting anyone. It'd be great to build it, but
Yeah,
the chances of getting that amount of money raised in donations,
right.
tough.
Okay. Okay, unfinished business. The ADA at Chaffinch Island. I noticed the sign was up, Rick, for planning and zoning meeting. I assume that's what it's for.
Yeah, the meeting is Wednesday night.
Yep.
You know, it's a CAM application, coastal area management plan application. The state didn't have any major concerns about it. And so we need planning and zoning approval, and that will be Wednesday night is they're addressing that. And it's I see Faith is listening here. And Faith, I think, I don't think you're muted, but I think I met with you, I think, didn't I? And I met a couple of people down there and showed where it was going to go.
Yeah, you met with, yes, you met with Susan and I.
Okay. And that's the exact spot. And we're working with Mike Ott, who's an engineer, and Mike is kind of laid out where it's going to go. And he filled out the CAM application for us.
Okay, good.
So that goes to planning and zoning Wednesday night.
All right, great. Boiler replacement.
It has begun, actually, last Friday.
Good.
I don't know, something just popped up. It says I signed in as another device messenger. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to touch it. I don't know what it
Yeah,
means.
that's okay. Don't touch it. Let's just keep going here.
Yeah, it started Friday, and the original plan was to start June 15th, but the company was available, ready, and we're kind of out of the heating season, so we said, let's go ahead and do it. So
Yeah.
they ripped a lot of stuff out of there. They put a portable 80-gallon hot water heater because we can't disrupt heat to the hot water for the kitchen.
Right.
So we got to have that, and the bathrooms, so for hand washing. So that has begun.
All right. Well, it's a good time to do it without a lot of people there. So.
Right.
All right. Disc golf expansion. Is that? I assume that's on hold.
It's on hold. Yeah.
Yep. We don't know anything else about the peddler's ordinance because I assume the selectmen have that on hold.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the same thing with the parking lots.
Well,
The
at
regulation.
the end of the day today, there were some emails going back and forth with the police chief, town attorney, economic development director, about how the first come, first served thing is going to work. And I kind of weighed in at the end of the day that we need to know how that's working at Jacobs Beach because, and who's enforcing it, who's going to be responsible to determine who was first and who wasn't. And it made it clear that they have to let us set the hours at Jacobs Beach when camp's in session.
Right.
They can't just let people show up and start selling hot dogs or ice cream or something.
They were supportive of that. That, you know, we had said that during camp hours, that was not Monday through Friday. Camp hours could not have anyone. I know that I sent them a bunch of ideas on how to do the first come, first serve, whether it's pick up a ticket at town hall or whatever, or given a code that you give the gate guard, because we can't, that was my biggest push with them, is we can't just have trucks showing up. Not with 16, 17-year-olds at the gate. That's not their responsibility. So hopefully they're hearing that, and we'll come up with a solution soon.
And we have decided nothing at Quantapug, right?
Yes.
Yeah, good. So basically it's just Jacobs.
Yeah.
Well,
But I mean, it could be really anywhere. I mean, it could be
They can go to
Bittner.
Chaffage. They can go to Chaffage. They can go to Chittenden.
Right.
They can go anywhere.
So, I mean, that's where we need to be very specific on where we feel is safe. Like, I think at Chaffinch would, as much as people love to have picnics and have access to food, I think Chaffinch is, there's no place.
There's no place to park.
Parking is already like atrocious there, so you
Right.
can't do anything there. Like Quantapug, we said was terrible.
No.
There's no reason to have one over at, what's the one next to Jacobs?
Oh, Chittenden, yeah. Chittenden.
No. Yeah, Chittenden. You know, because there's nothing there.
It's really
I
not.
mean,
much-
unless they're doing it and walking over to Jacobs, which is, again, safety concern. You're crossing a road. So really, our only place that we have absolute need to have rules is Jacobs, but I think it needs to be known to them that all these other parks, we don't want them.
Yeah.
I mean, Bittner, you can argue. I mean,
Bittner, yeah, they'll
always
probably
sports, but where are you going to put it? Because there's not enough parking at Bittner already.
begin with. Exactly.
So,
Well, I'll tell you what'll happen. The truck will go there and then people are going to start complaining they can't park, and then they're going to make new ordinance that the trucks won't be able to go there. So
well, hopefully they
Wait it
discuss
out.
any new ordinance with food trucks and our parking lots with us.
Okay. And now, all right, so the same thing, Rick, we haven't heard anything about what the parking lots, you know, not picnicking in them. They haven't touched that yet, right?
right. Yeah, I'm sorry. What we were just talking about was really the peddler's ordinance. The ordinance for parking lots. No, I think because of the whole virus thing, their focus has been on a lot of other things right now.
Okay. All right. We won't forget, especially when the tents start showing up. So we'll remember. Pickleball, tennis courts. So you want to fill everybody in, Rick?
Sure. So it's been the application and the site plan has been submitted to the Wetlands Commission, also to Planning and Zoning. It's my understanding, even with the budget cuts, it's still in the budget right now. And we, Public Works with Mike Ott, our engineer, did some test pits there last week. The the Public Works excavator had a breakdown, so they weren't able to do all the test bits. They're going to go back Wednesday and do some more. But what we need to have a public information meeting. I'm suggesting we do it at the courts, because we really can't. It's hard to have a Zoom public information meeting, I think. And to me, if we can do it right at the courts, we could have Mike Ott lay out, where it's going to go, stake it out so people know exactly, where the proposed layout is, get an idea of the size and dimension and all that. And we should do this before planning and zoning, because planning and zoning will be addressing it on, Suzanne left for some reason. She's trying to get back in. I'm not sure why it's not letting me do it. Sorry. Try it again. There we go. They suggest we do it before planning and zoning, which is May 20th. So that would be sometime really next week, the 11th or the 12th. And we would have to get notification out to the public that, we're gonna have this public information meeting.
Okay.
I think really
I think
the only
that's-
way we can do it is a Zoom meeting though, can't we? Because we can't have groups of people
You can't have
bigger
more
than 5.
Technically,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to have more than 5.
Well, I asked, that's a valid point. I asked Dennis Johnson about it, and he said that if you spread them around, they got to be more than 6 feet apart. And so if we kind of take up that whole area and ask people to spread out, he seemed to think we could do it.
I can't do it on the 11th. We've got Rosa DeLauro's convention, I believe, that day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I can
How's
do it
the
on the
12th?
12th.
How many people do you think would come? Because I don't know, the idea of calling a public meeting outside, it just seems contrary to what we're supposed to
Right.
be doing. It seems like a weird thing for a town group to do.
I think
So-
if we could get a picture of it mapped out and put that on Facebook and have like an email address like they did for the budget and have people write in, and then we can host a Zoom meeting and go over the questions. And if people want to show up to it, they show up to it. You've given them 2 avenues, either a written response or show up to a Zoom meeting. I personally don't feel comfortable calling a meeting outside.
I agree. And you can do a Zoom meeting where you don't have everyone who just can be talking. I mean, you can have it set up where whoever's supposed to be presenting it is,
Yeah, people just raise their hand.
raise your hand, or there's, they can send in chat questions, and you can kind of not control who's talking, not, let everyone speak, but have it in a more organized way than all of us talking each over.
On the bigger
There's ways to
meetings
do it.
on the bigger meetings that I've been on with the 300 people on, et cetera, everybody initially signs on and then they mute and
Keep everyone muted.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 2 Board of Finance meetings went well. I mean, and it was easy enough that, you click the raise your hand button if you wanted to talk, or you raised your hand in the picture. Or you could, like Tara said, send in your question through the chat option. And I mean, everyone talked that wanted to talk.
And I think that there's definitely, people are definitely getting more Zoom proficient all the time, to handle
I had
bigger
Star Wars
meetings.
behind me earlier,
Yeah.
because today's May 4th. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
Right.
should take it off for you guys.
Aw.
I love the chat option because when you're in some meetings and everybody just dominates it and you don't get a chance to ask your questions, that's like the best thing that's ever come out of it.
All right.
So is that
I can give you a primer, Rick, if that sounds intimidating to navigate all these people in Zoom.
Yeah. Well, it was hard enough to get this, but now I know how to do it.
We could always couldn't we ask Tracy Brinkman? I mean, she's on it. I mean, she's done all the other selectmen in the Board of Finance meetings, and I mean, they've run pretty smoothly.
Yeah, she's the one to help me get this set up. So we would advertise it on Facebook and the website or whatever, because we're talking about next week. So we can't get anything in the paper right now for it, right? It could be next week, or it could be the week after. Just before,
How would you have advertised it if we were going to meet there?
Well, we have to send letters to the neighbors. There are 30 of them.
Okay,
30.
so we would do the same thing. We would send the letters to the neighbors.
Yeah.
and we post it to the town website and Facebook, and we usually would put it in the newspaper, but we don't have time. So you're gonna have to do the 30 letters, and then we're just gonna make sure that we post it in every group, if we want to. Maybe not simply Guilford, on Facebook.
Yeah, and I think we, you know, I gotta check that when Mike Otten is available, because he's the one who really would run it pretty much.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He's the one who's got to explain everything and lay it out and get the maps and all that kind of stuff. So you want to give me some dates and times that are good for all of you, and then I'll check with Mike and I can email back.
The only thing that's not good for me next week would be Monday.
Okay.
Oh God, I'm, so many meetings at night now. No, I don't have anything. I'm fine. Everything's during the day when I'm supposed to be teaching my kids.
So is Tuesday, okay?
Yeah, Tuesday's good for me.
Okay. 6:30?
Works for me.
Yeah, works for me too.
A week from today, Rick?
A week from
Fine.
tomorrow.
On a Tuesday though.
A week from tomorrow.
Yeah. And what I'll do is I just got to make sure there's not like a requirement of how far in advance the notification has to be. So it's like neighbors and stuff. I'll double check that tomorrow. If they say it's got to be more than a week, then we may have to push it back. But
I'll have to push it back. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's okay if we push it back as well. I mean, we're not going to be building it tomorrow anyway. So.
Well, I mean, we have really till the 19th. So, I mean, if next week is too late, we could do the 18th or 19th if planning and zoning is on the 20th.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if next Tuesday is too early, we could always push it to the following Monday, the 18th. It still gives us plenty of time.
Yeah. All right. We'll see what happens, Rick, and then we'll figure it out.
Okay.
I do have another couple of meetings next week, but the week after, but I'm not sure what day they are yet. So, okay. All right. Budget. Apparently the budget passed without us getting any more cuts than we knew about.
Yeah, the town, they're cutting 100,000 from the town side, 200,000 from the Board of Ed.
Right.
And my understanding is we're not, I thought the pickleball tennis courts would be a target, and Matt told me it's still in. So I have not heard there's anything coming out of our budget. We actually came in with a lower budget than last year anyway.
Yeah.
We're not counting salaries. So, because, that's under negotiation still. So there wasn't, I mean, they couldn't go too deep on our budget.
No. Good. All right. Okay. New business. We've already talked about Dennis and Terry. Any other new business, guys? Yes, John.
But are we
I'm just
just
looking over.
recognizing what a great job they're doing, or are you asking, Rick, is there something we want to do to recognize them?
That's if you want to.
Are we just acknowledging that they've done an amazing job during this?
That's pretty much. I just wanted you all to know that, what a great job they both have done. Dennis as a 45-hour-a-week volunteer, and
That's amazing.
Dennis did say that he's going to have to probably start cutting back soon. And he was saying, since a lot of your staff aren't doing what they normally can do, can you guys pick this up? I said, well, I got to think about that because it's a big job.
It's a big job.
It's 45 hours a week that he's putting into it, at least 40 anyway. That's a full-time person just doing the coordination of the shopping.
Yeah.
So not sure we're there. I mean, even though our recreation staff are mostly working from home, they are doing some work. They're not doing nothing. And so I don't think we could just have one of them say, hey, you're going to do the shopping coordination now. It's a big job.
We just have to wait and see how time goes here, I think.
Yeah.
And see what we can and can't do.
I just basically put that in here just to let you guys know that it's pretty amazing what both of them are doing. Terry and Dennis as a volunteer.
Yeah. No, they've done a great job.
Yeah.
So I'm going to raise my hand.
Yes, John.
I realized I was a little bit late to the
That's okay.
meeting. I
It's all
apologize. I did have a question for Rick regarding the expenses that we have for just for regular supplies that we have. My question is that we buy a lot of cleaning supplies and paper goods from Staples, and we buy also some from Russell Hall. I guess I'm putting in a pitch for Russell Hall because they are a local Guilford company. And to me, it seems like if we can use a local supplier rather than a large corporation to help out a family business they're not based in Guilford, they're based in Meriden, but the family is the Rosa family that owns it. So, and manages it. So I was just curious if there's a way that we can be a little bit more, a little bit more pliable and purchasing more of our supplies from the Russell Hall Corporation rather than through Staples. The reason why I bring this up is that my father used to be an independent contractor, and he was, as a veteran, he was given a 3 to 5% allowance from either the Veterans Administration or the Department of Defense or the state of Maryland whenever he submitted contracts for the supplies that were being sold also by larger corporations. So,
Rick, do you have a say in that and where this stuff is purchased, or is that town hall?
I'm just trying to look at our comparison here. Yeah, we definitely spend more at Staples, at least in the month of March. Well,
We
Lawrence,
buy
yes,
more from Staples. That's
it's,
why.
it's basically we're supposed to get prices, the best prices, and
Best
whoever gets
prices.
that is competitive.
Yeah.
Normally what he doesn't do this every month, but Todd will get a list of all of our products and compare Staples, Russell Hall, and maybe somebody else. Just like we get gloves we were getting gloves from MRO, which I think they're out of business now, or Standpack or someplace, because they were less. So trash bags we were getting somewhere else. So we kind of split it up. A lot of what Russell Hall is what Larry gets in the kitchen. Like the cups and plates and plasticware, that kind of stuff, paper towels. A lot of the kitchen supplies come more from Russell Hall, I think. More of the cleaning supplies come from Staples. But we have to go with, pricing.
With price, that's what I was gonna say. I think we buy according to where we get the best price.
well, I'm just saying that the best price isn't necessarily the best deal. I mean, if there's a way that we can, go do bundle purchasing, get a larger contract from a Russell Hall versus Staples. I mean, to me, I'm just trying to promote a local business as compared to a big corporation. That's
Right.
all.
I understand what you're doing, John.
But that's something that's got to come out of town hall, though. I mean, right? I mean,
No, that's our prerogative because we have control over our own purchasing for our own supplies.
Well, no, we have to follow the town purchasing procedures, though, in anything we do. So even when we buy things out of reimbursables, we have to go through the purchasing procedures.
Yeah.
Which is
Well,
getting competitive prices.
It's
But I
getting
agree with you,
comparative
Tom.
prices.
We try to go local. I mean, we buy a lot of stuff at Page Hardware that we could probably get at, Home Depot for less, but just the convenience for one thing. The guys just go right there and go and get it. We're not going to go to Home Depot to get, 10 nuts and bolts or something like that. But we,
And more in gas than you do the bolts then.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, John. We
Well,
that's why-
if you feel it's not a viable operation, then I'll just let it slide. The only other thing I was going to ask is that, Rick, up at the superintendent's office on New England Road, we seem to store all of our snowplow blades with the, I don't know if that's with the Board of Education or if ours are up there as well. But I went up there walking the dog and I noticed about 7 of them up there. One of them it looks like brand new, and they're not secured. They're not locked up. They don't have any chains around them. Is there a way? Is that part of our equipment that's up there, or is
No,
ours?
none of those are ours. They're all Board of Ed.
That's all Board of Ed up there.
Okay. Well, I guess they feel lucky enough they don't worry about anybody poaching them. So.
A little hard to lift up and run away with.
Not if you have a front end hydraulic.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
So at any rate, I thought if they were ours that maybe we should consider securing them with some additional lock and chain.
I can pass it on to Chris Rowan and let him know about that.
Yeah, you may want to mention it to the Board of Ed.
Yeah.
All right. All right, any other business, guys?
Not from here.
and
You
Nope.
good?
We're good.
Wow, look at this, guys. We did it in an hour. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make
Second.
that
Motion to
motion.
adjourn.
Somebody seconded it.
Ew.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you all very much for coming in.
I
Stay
didn't even
safe.
have to make nameplates. Your names all showed up.
Well, hey, Rick, the only thing I would ask is that next time, don't send out 4 different phone numbers and 4 different ID numbers, because
I know. Yeah, I
it
know.
took a
It's
progression for me to find the right one.
All right.
So,
Bye, everybody.
Thanks.
Stay
Bye.
safe, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
good night.
Bye.